Okay.
So I'm not that far off from my normal. Throwing down this roach horn right here to be safe.
Now
This is
you
around
get
my roach
a
horn time.
very early roach horn. This is far, far earlier than I get it. This is completely in contrast to what both Ret and Machine have told me. Why do you get this early roach horn? Is it because of these zealot sentry pushes that are becoming more common these days?
It's to be defensive and aggressive. It gives me multi-purpose. If he foregates me because I hadn't seen that expansion yet, I can be defensive. It helps me put pressure on him. Like he has to, if he didn't put that on the forge there, if he threw another gateway, I could maybe do something gay along those lines. At this point, like if you've watched any of the White Raw games versus Morrow or anything like that, White Raw just does something like where he fakes expands and does 5-gate, and you just sit there and you cry for that poor Zerg who's just going to get rolled over. And
White Raw does that every game. It's actually infuriating for me to witness that.
Yep, it hurts my feelings too, to be quite honest. And you see how this guy can kind of do a little push here with that army,
right.
If I didn't have anything else to deal with it.
And you have made 5 roaches in response to that.
Yeah, they're just going to be some little pressure. I do such a weird build, I suppose.
Well, it's a little
on
bit
this map.
different, but I don't want to say that it's necessarily weird.
Well, here's the weird part.
Okay.
You see the weird part?
I see. No. Are you lings? Are you gonna go kind of? Oh, you're fat. Oh, that's really weird.
Isn't it kind of?
What are you thinking? How can you possibly hold that?
Pretty easily. Pretty easily.
No way. My Zerg senses are telling me that that is completely impossible to defend.
Okay.
So if that finishes, which I suspect that you suspect that it will, are you going to transfer lots and lots of drones there? Or?
Yep.
I literally don't understand what I'm seeing. You're being aggressive and you're expanding at the same time.
Why not?
That's a Brood War player for you. So all those roaches are going to die. Surely he's going to turn right around and counter, right?
If he wants to.
I mean,
it's not going to bother
the right
me.
thing for him to do?
Yeah, maybe. I actually don't think so. He has to macro up. He has an advantage, apparently. Like, oh, you killed my army. You have this advantage now. The thing is he really doesn't. He needs to attack now. But he doesn't know that because... exactly because I'm taking this third is what's going to throw him off. Like, because of that early attack.
Up to that gold.
Yeah.
That is so silly. Would you do that in cross positions?
In cross positions, this changes a little bit. I'm not sure. It depends so much on the game that I'm playing. Okay. The fact that I actually did quite a lot of damage against him is pretty bad.
Pretty bad for him, obviously, not for you.
Yeah, like, the fact that I killed any sentries and put any pressure is what allows me to take this expand so greedily.
I see.
And that's a fake. Or no, it's a real one, actually. Ah! I think it's real. Did it do real damage?
I would be cheating to say.
No, I was talking to myself. I'm sorry. It did not, so we're good on that count.
Now, one thing that I'm noticing is I feel like you haven't droned very much, but you stayed on layer for so long that I guess I'm just wrong, because you are sitting at 55 drones, 59 drones now.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of drones.
You have your Hydra Den building, you're building a macro hatchery, I guess because you took that gold.
Yep. Might as well. My creep spread is like my weakest point, though.
Yeah, it's not the best creep spread I've ever seen, but it's certainly not bad.
And then, like, you know, you might think my macro slipped there a little bit, and it did, but it wasn't that huge a slip, because I can now make a whole bunch of units.
Yeah.
If I wanted to.
And you're up to 4 gas, taking the 5th and 6th gases next.
Yep. And again, this is based on a lot of just timing that Protoss generally do versus me.
This is very interesting. This is very Roach-Ling centric.
Oh yeah.
Versus being more pure Roach or Hydra Roach. Now this is something you're doing something that I think is noteworthy that not as many players around my level take note of, but I think I see it from a lot of pros. You only have 1 Evo chamber and you're only getting plus attack. Any chance that you can elaborate on that for us?
It's more cost efficient. I don't need the plus carapace yet. If I had it, a Protoss could still have +2 and do the same sort of garbage that I absolutely hate, but it would be effective. So there's no point for me to get any sort of +2 carapace at the moment. Just +2 attack whenever I get that. And at this point, his army is a bit too small.
Yeah, I'm feeling like he's in a bad spot, and I think he just realized it. He's like, oh, FML.
Yeah. And at this point, it's just I have such a macro off these 4 hatches.
Yeah.
That I don't really care what he does. I have enough hydras, enough roaches. Even if he had colossus at this point, it's not a big problem.
You're not even gonna micro backwards. You're just gonna be like, LOL, I'm attacking.
I have no need to. Like I focus so much more on macro at this point. If you notice right here, I'm almost max. Look, there's his colossus. You know, that's fine. Go for it. You can send in those overlords. At this point, it just doesn't matter.
Overlord attack. Tentacle
They're attackable. And you know, like you can micro it all here and just kill that colossus whenever you feel like it. It's not that big of a deal. So good game.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, we've only been doing this for a little bit more than half an hour, so how about you play one more for us, and then I'll jump up there for the second half.
Sure.
Because that was really fun for me to see, and I would like to see that again.
Okay. And it has to be kind of a surprise. Like if like you said, if he knows you're going to do it ahead of time. That one point you mentioned is a very good time for him to attack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for him to attack though, because I will have 2 queens up there and whatever roaches and lings I left over. And if I do it right, I'll have a creep highway and a lot of lings, which are pretty good to deal with that.
Yeah. That was awesome. Like it was really cool. Really, really cool. I find like my ZVP style is almost he wants to look at the replay.
Okay.
Is almost based around going pure roach. I'm sure you're familiar with that style. It was kind of popular about a month ago, and now it's sort of falling out of fashion as Protoss players are starting to exploit some Stalker Immortal timings.
Yep.
But I enjoy going pure roach and then abusing things like drop and nidus to spread the Protoss player out and attack in multiple places at a time. What I'm trying to say is it's very rare that I mix in lots of Zerglings, and it's also kind of seldom that I even use any Hydras. So it's always fun for me to see that kind of style.
Gotcha, yep.
So
it's my favorite. I always like just going one-on-one with the Protoss.
Yeah.
How's your macro, mister? How's your guessing of what composition I went? I guess yours, and then see how it goes. Kiwi Kiki has been the only one who's been able to... He did something that was really awesome one game. Like, I did that sort of style right there.
Mm-hmm.
We got to the end game, and I thought he'd have Colossus with it, so I had a bunch of Corruptors. He just had, like, 10 Immortals against my Roaches and Hydra. I was like, ah!
I've had that happen before, and it's a bummer.
Yeah.
It is a
It
bummer.
was just, he did it blind, and I did it kind of blind. It was pretty hilarious.
If it was Kiwi, I'm surprised there wasn't a mothership and 30 hallucinations in the mix as well.
He got a mothership later on.
Oh, of course.
He did get it, don't worry.
Yeah. How do you feel about Infestors? Since we kind of have this downtime while he watches that replay.
Against mothership?
Let's talk. Well, just instead of talking about across all matchups, how do you feel about Infestors in ZVP?
They're garbage. Waste of my time. I'll get them against Blink Stalkers or against Blink Stalkers, or just to help my army if they have a bunch of zealots, that sort of thing. That's generally the only reason I'll get them. They're cost efficient versus Stalkers.
I have been using them so much in my other matchups, and I wish that I could find a place for them in ZVP, but I haven't been able to. And per Sheth, they are garbage.
Sadly, they're just not economically. They don't have the same usefulness for the amount of gas you're spending.
Cool.
Gas should be your limiting factor, at least generally. So, if for instance I have 150 gas, I'd rather make 8 roaches, or 6 roaches. Excuse my horrible math there.
I wouldn't have known the difference.
12 roaches in that case. No.
All right, so this is obviously Xel'Naga Caverns. This, I suspect he's going to play pretty standard again for this game, and I have no qualms about that. When I jump up and start playing, we'll get right back to talking specifically about 4G.
Okay.
But you just have kind of a unique style that I'm enjoying seeing and asking you about. So.
No problem.
Now it is Xel'Naga, so I have to ask: is this going to change the way you open it all, and is it going to change the way you approach your mid game at all?
Nope. Just makes it easier. I like this map a lot. It's one of my favorites. Might be my favorite ZVP map, actually.
One of the few good Blizzard maps, in my opinion. Can be
Yep.
kind of hard against Terran late game,
Yep.
in my opinion.
Exactly. Terran, not very good. Protoss, great map. It's a very great map. I hate that they can take their gold so easily.
Yeah.
It just annoys me.
It is infuriating.
If they made the gold expansions be the one on the far left and the far right, I could see that being much better against Terran.
You know, I would almost hate for this map to change, though. The fact that the golds are in the middle and they're so exposed. You know, those far expansions are very defensible, especially.
Oh,
if you
that
don't
is
hide.
true. That is true. But with Muta play, you could poke both places pretty easy, I think. Against Protoss, you just scream, though.
Exactly.
But I fixed ZVT for you, but you ruined ZVP.
How is your ZVT these days, Sheth? Since we're kind of in the early game and we can afford to talk about it.
It's my weak spot.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's my weak spot.
When I see your stream, you seem to favor the Mutaling Bane style.
Yep. I'm just not that great at openings. Like Blue Flame Hellion, or if they're doing that 2 racks pressure, it's really difficult. I wish I was better at it.
Yeah.
I wish I had Slush's openings. Slush is the most amazing ZVT openings I've ever seen.
He's so
Lucky?
Dude, it's just bizarre. He does the weirdest shit and it always works. He's almost like Cats in that regard.
Yeah. Well, Cats gets unlucky on his opening. I think if Cat was lucky on all his openings, he'd win every time. Just blanket statement. Because his openings are so ridiculously ballsy.
Exactly.
If he hits that probe again one more time, I'm gonna trap it if I can. Well, he just keeps poking me. Quit poking me.
Isn't that annoying?
It's
Fucking probes.
a little bit frustrating.
So we asked about infestors in ZVP. You said they're awful. I love them in ZVT. This has kind of been dominating my style these days.
Infestors in ZVT or ZVP?
ZVT.
Oh, wow.
Kind of Strife Co style, if you've seen him play ZVT.
I have not. Oh, yeah. I have, actually.
Or TLO style. Possibly a little more famous reference.
Nope. Have not watched that many of his games. I don't find his Zerg to be as intuitive as the other races of his. He plays pretty standard with his Zerg.
Yeah, I would agree with exception to his ZVT. But anyways.
Oh, well, I haven't seen his ZVT. Sorry. I know it was Infesterling in beta.
Yeah, that's still what it is.
So what it is? Okay.
And it's awesome. Like, in my opinion. To see him do it. I just really like it.
It is cool. Look, I found that probe.
Yeah, I know. I was going to comment on your map hacks, but we were talking about TLO.
I saw it with the Overlord.
Ah, I see.
He should have caught my units there. A little mistake on his part, maybe. Not a big one, though, by any means. And he showed me a sentry. Yay, sentry.
So you're thinking expand right off the bat?
Or Void Ray.
Or Void Ray?
Last game I was so wrong.
You were
so
so
painful.
wrong. But see, I knew that because I play with JMeg all the time, and he never makes Void Rays. Until the late game. And he will get quite a few in the late game. And that's pretty
Void
frustrating.
Rays are pretty baller. Excuse me.
If by baller you mean the gayest unit in the world, then I will.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to pull up their production tab. I apologize to people watching.
How dare you?
Indeed.
Alright, so this game, I'm going to do something slightly different than last game. Remember last game I made roaches, and that was pretty much my standard response to this?
Mhm.
I see him trying to move out, and he has multiple sentries. So I have a general idea what he wants to do.
Yes.
If I'm wrong, I'm screwed. Like, if he's going Void Ray, this will probably fail. But generally, people don't go massive Void Rays at this point. Even if they do, a lot of times they won't catch it.
So you're going to take a super early, super aggressive third.
Yes, exactly. And on the back of this, I'm going to be aggressive.
With Zerglings, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep, I see him. Yeah, I